In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Moxfield's playtest feature in Spelltable. This is great for those that don't have a decent setup, maybe you don't have a camera or the space to play Magic like with real cards, but you still want to play online with friends. You can go into Moxfield and create your deck and then essentially run it in playtest. So if you're not familiar with Moxfield, it's a nice website where you can essentially build decks. You can theory craft, build decks that you actually have. Every deck that I build, I basically put it in Moxfield and run it through here. You can use this playtest button here to basically, just mess around with your cards, playtest them. But you can also use it to basically play with people using Spelltable. So I'll go over on how to get that working. Now, I have these three screens that you can see that I'm kind of running with. It just makes it easier because of the way OBS works, recording. This is just the best way to go about doing it. So just try to follow along the best you can. If there's any questions, you can leave in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Anyway, so what you're going to want to do is after you get your deck built in Moxfield, you're going to want to go to OBS or download OBS for that matter. If you're not familiar with it, it's a recording software. You can use it to stream to like Twitch or YouTube or whatever, or you can use it to record. But the feature that we're going to use out of it is the virtual camera. And this virtual camera will allow us to essentially stream right to Spelltable. So if we're looking at Spelltable, we actually see that it has the OBS icon right here. Because I have it set up, currently connected to it. What you'll do is you'll go down to this settings button right here, game menu and settings, and you go to configure inputs. If you have a camera, it'll probably show your camera already plugged in. Otherwise, it'll have the OBS virtual camera. Just make sure that this is selected. You'll know it's selected when you see this icon, and basically you know you're good to go. So as soon as you hit this button over here on OBS to start virtual camera, everything that OBS sees, it's going to show on Spelltable. So if you picture this as like your full screen, you're basically just going to see what's on Spelltable. And if I actually click here, this is essentially what it's going to look like. You're going to see all this only in that little window on Spelltable. So to get that, and I recommend this for people that only have like one screen. Like for me, I use two screens when I play, so I just have OBS capture one screen, which is the screen that has my Spelltable on, and the other one, the one screen has my playtest on, and the other screen has my Spelltable, so I can see both screens at once and go from there. But for those that don't, you can just go to the window capture, and then basically as you can create it. Here, I'll show you how to create it. I might as well do that. So you go to the plus sign, you go to a window capture. Once you create it, it's going to give you this, and then you're going to want to select your Chrome. It'll be, so for me it says obviously Serpents of Jukai, but it's this one that is the Moxfield. So as soon as I do that, it's going to show my playtest, right? So there it is. Okay. But I'm just going to remove that for now since I already have it essentially made. So now when you're looking at it here, you'll notice a few things with how Spelltable is. So obviously, like, a couple things is we see the hand, right? Like your hands, it's not hidden. People can see it. So we're going to want to cover that up. If you also notice that when you cursor over your cards, you'll see off to the right, obviously it shows a bigger one, which is great because it helps if you have like bad eyesight or just want to ease of access of reading it. You can read it. It's simple. It's right there. So that's great features for us, but we don't want our opponent seeing those things. So what we're going to want to do is create what OBS has are called these color sources. Now, I already have a few made here, so I'm just going to, basically, it's the same thing. You go to the plus sign, you go to color source, you click it, hit OK. It'll basically give you this giant box, and you can adjust the size, create it as you will. You can even change the color, which I'll get into that too. But you essentially adjust it to fit and cover up your hand and stuff like that. So for here, when I made this first one, and it shows the red line showing that what it is. So if I double click this, I can actually go to this select color. If you want to be fancy like me, you can just go to this pick screen color, and then you can basically just click a color that matches Spelltable in some way. I like this dark gray color because it fits perfectly. It makes everything seamless. I click that, and I do that here. However, if you don't create multiple boxes, you'll notice you see your like the mana costs above your cards, which is just information you don't really want to give your opponent. So you can create a second color source that essentially you just copy and paste this one by hitting Control C and Control V, but you want to create another one that just kind of moves into place. And the reason why I use two here, you could essentially just use one and cover everything up, but I really just want my opponent to have to see my hand, which has a hand size right here. Okay, so so they don't have to ask or like worry about if I'm lying about the hand. Like, you still want to give them like that information, and it's just right here for them to see. They don't really have to ask you. They can go, okay, so and so has 6 cards in their hand. Fantastic. And another thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a color source to cover up that card that's off to the right. So you just basically just copy and paste it again, drag it over, resize it, and it's going to be here. If you have this, obviously it's going to be full screen. This your playtest screen is going to be the full screen. So anything that's off to the side is going to be cropped out. So like this, you're not even gonna. This ain't even gonna matter. So when you set it up, it's just gonna look perfect. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covers it. We covered how to create it in the window and stuff like that. So essentially, when you're running it, if you have one screen, you're just gonna have your one screen that's on your spell table and your one screen that's on your playtest, and you might have to bounce back and forth to use them. But as long as you have your window capture on your playtest, it shouldn't affect what people see in your spell table. So you can just transition back and forth, and once it's your turn, just go back to your playtest, take your turn, and then just go back to spell table and go from there. Hopefully that covers everything. I don't know if I might have missed something, or you guys have any questions or concerns about something I might have missed. I can address that. Just go ahead and leave a comment, or you can comment in the EDH Cult Discord page, and I'll just try to get back to you guys and answer any questions and concerns you might have. Hopefully you get this working. I know it'll be great for those that, like I said, don't have a decent setup, and they can just go straight into playing Magic and not have to worry about like having the space to do it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you get it all working and situated.